It's a good morning right here at the Barnes Airport. As you can see behind me is the Grand Caravan, which we're going to use today. And Captain Ian will be actually joining us soon as we start the preparation from the now flight planning to the external checks, internal checks, and all those things right here at Barnes Airstrip. Yes. It's one chilly day, of course. Mount Kenya trying to do it's actually the core business what it does right here in Nanyuki, of course, and Meru environs. And today is a beautiful day, and we will try and of course take off earlier before it gets really choppy out here. Alright, right about now we're now about to start the whole process, and of course Captain Ian is right here with me, and we want to go through the flight planning, and it's a sequence. So Captain Ian, maybe what do you expect from the flight planning?
Well, I expect everything to be within limits. That's the most important part, and also, to have the aircraft documents all in check, and that the aircraft should be airworthy for us to get airborne. Otherwise, without all that, we cannot get airborne. And I expect everything to be smooth. As much as I know that it's fine, I'll have to confirm and reconfirm that it's fine.
All right, perfect. Let's now go to the nitty-gritties of the whole process.
So basically, when we fly, we have to know the amount of fuel we require, if the weather is fine, if the aircraft is in good condition, and if the aircraft on takeoff and landing is within center of gravity limits. So for you to know that, you have to know, how you're going to load the aircraft, how many passengers you have. We get emails to give us that information, and then I'll come sit here on this computer that has Google Maps, and I'll use it with all the airstrips there and get the distances and headings and put it on an application here that is going to tell me, am I within limits or not? If I'm not within limits, it turns red, and obviously I cannot proceed, and I have to adjust that, and we need to make changes. For the aircraft you're flying today, the weight for takeoff in pounds is 8,750 as per the book. Okay. That is, if I had full fuel and had a few passengers inside, it should not surpass 8,750. And by the way, Nick, you can't surpass it, but you can't fly. No, you cannot fly like that. Yeah. So you have to be within limits. Why? The manufacturer says it's safe, and you don't want to go anywhere with on the margins that is not safe. The manufacturer has not certified.
Absolutely.
So how does it calculate? Basically, what is in the manual is put on this particular. I'll give that to you now. I'll just close that. I'll go to the app. That app over there is the one that now we put in weight and balance performance, where we put the passengers and actually tap where they're going to be sitting, and also at the back zone and the pods at the bottom. We put in all that, and it is designed as per the book. And then you can see that column there where it has center of gravity. So it tells me now the center of gravity here is actually within the envelope. So I'm good to go.
So you're good to go.
Yeah.
Wow,
but let's see what happens if I take it. Let's say, if I had more bags, see that? It turns red. So, and it tells me maximum ramp mass exceeded, CG limit.
When you try to take off with that, of course, that's a recipe for catastrophe. Yeah.
Catastrophe, yes, because if you take off when you're heavy, that means you're taking more runway, and the aircraft might get airborne, but might not get enough power and lift to continue climbing. So it will come plunging down.
Risky.
Yes, very risky.
All right. Thank you so much, Captain.
So this is our maintenance hangar. We do both helicopters and fixed wing. So we are licensed to actually service and maintain aircrafts. And so we have both an AOC approved and an AMO approved for this company. So we're very, very lucky. So it's all everything in this place. Yeah.
So basically any type of airplane, or maybe just specifically choppers and other small fixed wing planes?
Yeah, it's actually Airbus helicopters, the AS350s and Robin 44s and 46s. You can see that's a Robin 44. It's actually a trainer. And maybe one of that type, which I'm actually not sure which type of a helicopter that is, because I'm not very proficient with helicopters. However, on the fixed wing side, it's Cessnas and Pipers. So Cessna Caravans, Cessna 182, Cessna 206s, Piper aircrafts as well. Yeah, we do those kind of things here. But it has to, we don't just do any aircraft. We're very choosy because we want to maintain our safety levels in the company as well. Yeah.
That's interesting. Of course, after Captain has explained everything about now what they do here, because the licensed also to actually service these planes, both choppers and fixed wing. Let's now go and take a look on what the recipe as far as now the flight planning is concerned. Come with me.
After the clearing of operations and paperwork, also to make sure the aircraft documents are legal, up to date, we're ready now for the external checks. We will just make sure that the aircraft is airworthy and in good shape for the flight. All right, the aircraft looks good. We have enough fuel. Just check the oil. It's important to check if you have pods. It's actually important to check that there is nothing in there. So what we have there is just the sun visors, so that's fine, and nothing at the back due to security reasons. And also, someone can load up the aircraft the wrong way. So I'll just check the pods. They're actually empty. I'll check the oil and the condition of the cowling. So I need to unclip this. All right, so that's the engine section there. I will need that ladder to check the brake fluid. There's some circuit breakers here. They have to be all in. And if the fuel is contaminated, there's something there that will pop up. It looks fine. The alternator belt and the alternator in position. And then I'll check something very important. Oil. No engine can run without oil. So the oil should be enough. Aha, I have just a 2. So it takes about 14 quarts of oil in the whole system. And in the sump, should have about 9 quarts of oil. Also, it's important to check these are secure. Don't get airborne and then they just flap up. And then condition of the blades. What happens is because we do lots of flights into very rocky places, the blades can actually be chipped. So you want to make sure you don't have cracks on the blades. They all look fine. Very serviceable. Fantastic. Spinner is fine. Tasha looks fine. The torque link should not have a play. Then there's a thread here that should always ensures that when you're turning the aircraft, basically, if that thread gets cut, that means you exceeded the limit to which the nose wheel can actually turn. So it's important to check that part. Then here we have the air intake. It's important to check that actually it's clear. And we have a filter here as well. Important to check that it is clear. And also it normally has covers. They're all out. Very, very important. I'll continue to this other, we call it the starboard side. The starboard in aviation basically means right and left is port. So I'm on the starboard side of the aircraft. I'll just have a quick look at the starboard side of the engine as well. All the connections are fine. And that's where actually we have the battery as well. So that's the battery of the aircraft. Ensure it's actually well positioned. All the fire detectors, igniters, and all connections are in position. That is very important to check. If anything looks off, I must call an engineer. He must attend to it. And if he feels that it's not serviceable, then we cannot take the aircraft. So everything looks fine, fantastic. By the way, it's very important to check that there's no play on these two. And a very important part to unlock this thing, which you call the radar surface. Unlock it so that it's movable. Otherwise, if you lock it, then you can still unlock it from the cockpit, but it's a good practice to unlock it from there. Condition of the aircraft is fine. The body, same thing. I'll check the wing. What we checked on the other wing, I'll just do the same on this wing. Like I said, it's important to check the ports. Great. And hydraulic fluid line, the brake pads, disc brake, fine. Threads, tire pressure, very important, looks fine. Crib mark, safety pin to ensure the aircraft, the tire does not come out on taxi. Like I say, taxiing is moving the aircraft from ground. And checking the general conditions of the aircraft. This is the port side and the port wing, meaning left wing. The lights on the at the very end there. We call them the navigation lights and the strobe lights. They're all in position. We also have another pitot tube here that gives the aircraft speed, which I'll show you in the aircraft. And I end up where I began. And that's how the exterior checks are done in a nutshell. Alright everybody, welcome aboard Cessna Caravan, a Tropicair Cessna Caravan. Flight today will be just about 20 minutes. We'll be doing 2 circuits, one touch and go. Otherwise, it's important to know that water, sick bags, magazines are provided for you at the seat pockets in front of you. Please be on your belts at all times, the shoulder and waist harnesses. For emergency exits, to the back, to the front. And by the way, you can use your phones and cameras, no restrictions. However, no smoking. Ask me any questions if you feel like. I'll be here for you in case you need any assistance. Unfortunately, no cabin crew today. I think they overslept. All right then, everybody, enjoy.
Parking brake.
On.
Control lock.
Removed.
Seat belts. Shoulder
All
harness.
adjusted and secure.
Alright. For starting engine checklist complete.
Great.
The number 9 for switches.
All off.
Ignition switch.
It's still off.
Circuit breakers.
All in.
Fuel tank selectors.
All on off for now.
Ventilation fans. Air conditioning.
I'll put them on though.
Right. Okay. Full stuff. Bleed air heat switch.
It's off.
All right.
Everything looks fine. Just make sure the fuel here is set. Remaining fuel 1225. Or do we have 331? So I'll just 1225. An aircraft cannot fly without speed. So the speed is shown here, and we call this the indicated airspeed. So this is the speed at which the aircraft needs to stay afloat for any particular phase of flight. Takeoff, coming into land, and also straight and level. And most importantly in climbs. Now if you don't have enough speeds, you stall. The aircraft falls out of the air.
That's it.
Off we go.
One is so powerful, huh?
Yeah, it's a very powerful machine, this one.
Traffic Nanyuki, Charlie Whiskey, Airborne 21 for a right circuit, turning onto a wide downwind 21. Any traffic Nanyuki?
Proficiency test.
Yeah.
How long do you guys go through?
Every 6 months. Alternate.
okay.
So there's what you call the pilot proficiency test,
Right.
check,
All right.
and the line check. So pilot proficiency, we want to see that you can handle the aircraft. And the line check, we want to see that you can handle a particular route with the passengers and do it proficiently. And I'll get the other flaps for you. Whiskey, Nanyuki on the right circuit for full stop. Ah, great. Welcome back.
Thank you. That was an interesting one. Touch and go. I liked it. At some point, I was worried. Are we going to hit 70 at the...
So you see, on the touch and go, already the speeds are high.
Right, yeah, sure.
So when you increase the power, that's it. It actually just goes.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect.
Meanwhile, I'll just record what we've done on what we call a tech log.
It's good for service engineers and everything.
Exactly. So I'll just put it here.
Welcome, Nick.
That was crazy.
Great. welcome.
And trust me, I think if it were been a Cessna or something,
My friend, I think we'll come back very sick, man.
put the deck.
I'm telling you, it could have been something else.
Nick, you have controls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did you jump out? Yeah, she says she was on her seat all the time.
Yeah,
the whole way. Until when I took over, back, she's like,
After the flight, yeah, that was exciting, the touch and go, but it was a bit windy, kind of shaky. You saw the shots, and Captain, yeah, exciting. And of course, I can say that the Grand Caravan is very stable. I felt it. I haven't experienced yet with the airplanes, but this one is a very, very, very stable plane. Now, what can you tell us about the flight?
First of all, I'm happy you've said it's a stable aircraft. A lot of people think these small aircrafts, they'll get sick every time they get on board. But when the conditions are good, it's fantastic. This particular flight we did midday. And midday is actually quite something. It gets very hot. The winds pick. And by the way, Nanyuki winds can just change from this runway to the other one. Wow. I didn't even tell you, but I noticed when you're coming in for the touch and go, the winds change on us drastically from one runway to another. So yeah, it can get very bumpy.
Some crosswind also coming,
it gets we get crosswinds, and at some point you expected a headwind, which is the one you want to land with, and then it becomes a tailwind, meaning you use more runway. So yeah, sometimes it can be crazy conditions here in the UK. It's not a joke.
Yeah, sure. Now, when you did the last lap, and of course our camera lady Benedetta was a bit worried when I took over the controls. Yeah, I understand. When you took back the controls, she was actually now breathing a sigh of relief in here. Benedetta, you're handling the cameras. Cool down. I'm a pilot.
Yes.
All right, as it is you've heard for yourself, it's a very exciting machine. It's a very exciting instrument actually to fly with. And Captain Ian is actually a very experienced pilot. He's actually the chief pilot at Tropic Air, one of the best airlines actually. Is it an airline?
It is a charter company. I will not call us an airline. Islands are more, Kenya Airways and sort of, and so on. But we're just a charter company. And then before we continue, can I switch the roles? Can I be the one to ask you the questions? Is that fine?
Perfect.
Nick,
Perfect.
could you tell us how did you enjoy the flight? And you actually flew. How did you enjoy it?
Basically, a first time on a Grand Caravan, and I enjoyed it. When you told me to take controls of the basics in aviation, of course I applied. Degrees, below 10 degrees, maneuvering. Yeah, it was bumpy, man. That was scary, bumpy. We used to the Cessnas, other planes. I'm very sure if we would have been in those, it could have been something different.
Tell me, Nick, when you're flying, I noticed you're using lots of sole reference to the instruments.
Absolutely.
Why didn't you want to look outside?
I believe in instruments.
What if they fail?
Well, they feel, of course, you turn to VFR or something like that, but I believe that you need to really, really work with your instruments. That's where everything happens. But of course, awareness, you need to know what is happening around, because you can be concentrating on your instrument, and then you're missing the runway.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's very important to actually now look at the instruments, which is very, very vital in flying.
Thank you so much. And let me reverse the roles. I just wanted you to assure everybody.
You did well. This guy is taking my job. This guy's taking my job, man. Yeah. So Familiar First on Switch TV, motivational speaker also on Switch TV, Morning Live, all those programs, Aviation Expert on Switch TV, and trust me, thank you so much. So for you watching at home or wherever you are, it's actually a place to come and visit. Bunny's Airstrip. Trust me, this place, as much as it's windy, it's actually very, very perfect. Till next time, my name is Nick Modimba, and of course I'll let him introduce himself as we close this.
So my name is Captain Ian, well known as Talk to Captain Ian, Chief Pilot Tropic Air, a motivational influencer. It was fun flying with Nick and the whole crew.
Absolutely.
Nick, I'm sure you enjoyed yourself. And as Tropic Air, I would like to ask all viewers a favor, please. On World Travel Awards, Tropic Air has been nominated, can you imagine, to be the Kenya's leading domestic carrier 2019. It's not a small company. Please just go there to the World Travel Awards and please vote for us. And for some of you who wants to be treated up north, helicopters or fixed wing aircrafts, you are more than welcome. I know next time when I get to Switch TV, we will talk more about motivational stuff, but today we'd put that aside just to show you everything about flying. You had fun, Nick?
I had fun, bro. Thank you so much. You did well.
Thank you.
I believed I did well.
Amazing. Oh, by the way, as a flight instructor, and I'm not a former, I'm still a flight instructor,
Absolutely.
I was very impressed.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, as I mentioned earlier, that's it for us today in Nanyuki. Be sure to join us next time with Captain Ian. He'll be coming to studio more frequently on the motivational angle. Have yourself a brilliant time.